In the age when gods still walked among mortals and the line between fate and free will blurred like a shadow in the twilight, there was a city nestled between high cliffs and stormy seas, known as Mytilene. This city, unlike others in the fertile plains of Greece, was renowned for its darkness, both in its legends and its rulers. For centuries it had been ruled by the house of Pelagon, a family cursed by the gods for their hubris and cruelty. It was said that their bloodline was doomed, and the shadow of their sins stretched far beyond the mortal realm. At the heart of Mytilene stood a towering palace built from black marble, and upon its throne sat Queen Alcandra, the last of her line. She was a woman as cold and distant as the moon, with raven-black hair and eyes that seemed to drink in the light around her. Alcandra had ruled Mytilene for many years, but unlike her ancestors, she did not revel in cruelty. Instead, she bore her curse with a grim resignation, seeking to break the chain that bound her family to the gods' wrath. One fateful night, Alcandra was visited by a strange dream. In it, a figure cloaked in mist and shadows appeared before her. His face was hidden, but she knew him to be Thanatos, the god of death. "Alcandra," he said, his voice like the whisper of winter winds, "the time of your house draws near its end, but there is a way, a path to redemption if you dare to walk it. You must seek the fates, the Moirai, those who spin and cut the threads of life. Only they can offer you a chance to break your family's curse." Alcandra awoke with a start, her heart racing. The fates. No mortal had ever dared seek them out, for they resided deep in the underworld, far beyond even the realm of Hades. Yet the promise of redemption, of freeing herself and her city from the gods' vengeance, was too tempting to ignore. Without hesitation, Alcandra prepared for her journey. She donned her black cloak, a symbol of her lineage, and set out alone under the cover of night. She left behind her crown, her court, and all the trappings of her rule, knowing that this quest could be her end. Her first destination was Delphi, the center of prophecy and the home of the oracle of Apollo. It was said that the oracle could guide mortals on their paths, though her words were often as cryptic as they were true. Alcandra hoped that the oracle might reveal how to find the Moirai. After days of travel, Alcandra reached the temple of Apollo. The oracle sat upon her tripod, her eyes clouded and distant, as if seeing beyond the world of men. Alcandra knelt before her, and without a word, the oracle began to speak. "You seek the fates," she whispered, her voice ethereal. "They dwell where the river Styx coils like a serpent. But be warned, Queen of Mytilene, the path is not yours to walk alone. 3 must walk with you, one born of fire, one born of ice, and one born of both. Together you may weave a new thread, but should you fail, your bloodline will be erased, not just from life, but from memory." The oracle's eyes rolled back, and she fell silent. Alcandra left the temple in silence, her mind swirling with the prophecy. 3 must walk with her, each embodying fire, ice, and both. But who could these companions be? As she made her way down from Delphi, she contemplated her next move. She had no allies in this quest, only her own strength and determination. Her first companion, as it turned out, came to her unexpectedly. As she journeyed through a desolate stretch of land, she came across a figure standing alone amidst a field of charred earth. He was tall and gaunt, his skin pale as bone, but his eyes burned with an inner fire that seemed to defy his frail appearance. "I am Phlegon," he said as she approached. "I was born of the flame, cast aside by the gods to wander this scorched earth. I know your quest, Alcandra of Mytilene. The oracle has spoken to me in dreams. I will join you, for the gods owe me a great debt. Alcandra hesitated but nodded. Phlegon's presence was unnerving, his body seeming to flicker like a flame caught in the wind. Yet she knew she needed him. The next companion, the one born of ice, was found in a realm few mortals dared to enter, the frozen peaks of Mount Haemus, where winter reigned eternal. Alcandra and Phlegon journeyed for weeks, enduring biting winds and treacherous paths, until they found a woman, tall and regal, standing alone in the midst of a frozen lake. Her hair was silver, and her skin as pale as the snow around her. Her eyes were cold, yet not unkind. "I am Chione," she said, her voice like the cracking of ice. "Daughter of Boreas, god of the north wind. I have long watched the world below from my icy prison. The oracle has called me, and I will follow. But know this, Alcandra, not all who seek the fates find their answers." With Chione joining their ranks, the group now sought the one born of both fire and ice. This proved to be the most difficult, for no mortal or god was known to embody both extremes. As they travelled through forests and valleys, rumours reached Alcandra's ears of a hermit who lived on the edge of the underworld itself, where fire and frost met in an eternal struggle. They found him deep in the mountains, in a cave where the walls were scorched black by fire yet covered in frost. His name was Pyrrhus, and his story was one of tragedy. He had been born in a village destroyed by a clash between the gods of fire and frost, his body forever scarred by both elements. His left side burned with eternal flame, while his right was locked in ice. He had chosen exile, for no mortal could bear to look upon him. "I know why you have come," Pyrrhus said, his voice heavy with bitterness. "I am the one who lives between fire and ice. The gods' cruelty gave me this fate, and now they seek to use me again. But I will join you, for what else is left to me but revenge on those who cursed me?" With her strange companions now gathered, Alcandra and her party began the most perilous leg of their journey, the descent into the underworld. They travelled to the gates of the underworld, where they encountered Cerberus, the great three-headed hound who guarded the realm of the dead. Chione stepped forward, summoning a frigid wind that lulled the beast to sleep. The path was open, but the worst was yet to come. They passed through the fields of asphodel, where the souls of the dead wandered aimlessly, their eyes hollow and lifeless. The sight unnerved Alcandra, for she knew that if they failed, her fate, and that of her city, would be far worse. At last they reached the edge of the river Styx, where the Moirai awaited them. The Fates appeared as three ancient women, each holding a part of the great loom upon which the threads of life were spun. Clotho, the spinner, Lachesis, the measurer, and Atropos, the cutter. Their eyes glimmered with ancient knowledge, and their hands never stopped their eternal work. "You come seeking to change your fate," Clotho said, her voice creaking like an old door. Lachesis eyed Alcandra's companions. "Three of fire, ice, and both. You followed the oracle's words well, Queen of Mytilene." Atropos, the eldest and most fearsome, raised her shears. "But changing fate comes at a price. What are you willing to give?" Alcandra stepped forward, her heart heavy with the weight of her decision. "I offer my life in exchange for my city's salvation. Let my bloodline end here, but spare the people of Mytilene from the gods' wrath." The Moirai exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. Atropos's shears gleamed in the dim light of the underworld. "You would end your line willingly?" Clotho asked. Few mortals would make such a sacrifice. "Your death will not be swift," Lachesis warned. "Nor will it be kind." Alcandra swallowed, but her voice was steady. "I accept the cost. I would rather my line end with me than see my people suffer for my ancestors' sins." Atropos nodded, her thin lips curling into a faint smile. "So be it, Alcandra of Mytilene. The curse upon your house is lifted, but your thread is cut." With a swift motion, she snapped the thread that represented Alcandra's life. As the world around her dimmed, Alcandra felt no fear, only a strange sense of peace. She had broken the curse. Her people would live, free from the god's anger. Her companions, too, faded into the shadows, their roles in the story complete. And so, Alcandra's life ended, but her legacy endured. Mytilene was spared, its dark curse lifted, and though her name would eventually fade from memory, the people would live on, free from the shadow of the gods. And in the halls of the Moirai, the looms spun on, weaving new stories, new fates for the world above.